Well, hey there. I'm Kimberly Ferguson, CEO and founder of Emerald Expectations Accounting. I'm so happy that you're here. You might be thinking, if you've been here before, that things look a little bit different, and you might be right. So first of all, welcome to my temporary office. I figured it was about time to ditch the background so you guys can actually see where it is that I reside. It is, however, a blue room. And we all know that this is the Emerald Corner, so this should be a green room, right? Problem is that I'm currently residing in our guest bedroom because the second half of our house has not been renovated yet. So for those of you who don't know, my husband and I purchased this house about a year and a half ago, and we immediately started renovating this half of the house. So we got this half done and we moved over here, and then we were going to do that half, but we've decided not to do that half yet. So I am in our guest bedroom enjoying a nice temporary office. And that is why it is blue and not green. So I hope you'll forgive me for not having an emerald room. It is coming, just not soon. So welcome to the blue emerald corner. So today's episode is more personal. So I keep saying that this channel is a place where life and business meet, but I don't share much about my life. So I figured it was about time. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 little known facts about me and why they make me the best CFO for you. Let's jump in. So I'm going to go ahead and give these to you in no particular order. They're just random facts about me that I thought about, and I don't think most people know them. So yeah, number one, I actually write music and lyrics on my piano. I write songs. Yeah, I know. It's weird for an accountant. I actually used to have my piano in this room also, but my husband and I recently rearranged because I like to rearrange a lot, especially when I'm not happy with a space. I have a huge tendency of trying to decorate, like make it look like, the home edit or something like that, HGTV. So if a room doesn't feel comfortable to me, then it drives me crazy, and I will rearrange it and rearrange it and rearrange it till I get it right. Until I like it. So this is where we landed. The piano landed in a different room, but I do write music and lyrics on my piano. The way that this makes me a good accountant is that I am creative. So I can think of ways that most people wouldn't think of in order to improve and benefit your business. So if you're struggling with new ideas on how to grow your business or how to increase your cash flow, that's something that I can really bring to the table. And that's definitely not something that most accountants are going to be bragging about. Number two is actually related to the first one, but growing up, I actually have won multiple talent shows for my singing. So not only do I like to write music and sing at home, I actually am fairly good at it. I wanted to be a singer for a period of time. I thought that would be a great career for me. Um, I obviously went in a different direction from that, but it doesn't mean I don't still enjoy singing every now and again, even in public, I know. Not a traditional accounting thing. So what this gives me is a boldness. I'm really not afraid to try new things, unlike most accountants who kind of like to stick into the same box and use the same ideas over and over again. I'm not afraid to come up with new ideas, to try those new ideas, to see if they work, pivot if we need to, but otherwise find new ways of being successful. So number three, again, goes along with the other two, but I was actually a part of a national award-winning dance team when I was growing up. So again, very comfortable in public areas. So how this makes me a great CFO is that I know what it takes to get to the top. And so I know that the journey is long. I know the journey involves a lot of hard work, sometimes some sacrifice, sometimes a lot of sacrifice, but I know what it takes to be number one. And I'm not saying that you want to be number one in your business, but I'm assuming that you do want to have a growing and profitable business. So I know what it takes and I can get you there as long as you're willing to do the work and make the sacrifices. I can't do that part for you. So number 4 is that I actually have my pilot's license. Now, this is a little bit more well-known fact because I have shared it in a couple of other places, but I did initially go to school for aeronautical science. So I did get my pilot's license. I do know how to fly an airplane, and no, I'm not current. I know that's the first question everybody always asks is, oh, could you take me somewhere? Or could you then, if you wanted to, do this, that, or this? The answer is I could, but there would definitely be some steps I would have to take to get current. So how does this help me with your accounting? This is kind of where the strategic mindset comes in, and also the ability to deal with very high stress situations. And I'll tell you a story to go along with that one. I was actually flying. It was one of my first solos, not the first, but one of the first. I was going in a cross country, which basically means that it has to be at least 50 miles away from your home airport. In this case, I was flying from basically Detroit to Lansing, Michigan. And I landed in Lansing, had no issues, and then it was time for me to take off and come back home, right? So sometimes when you land, the yoke is a little bit harder to control for somebody with a petite frame, okay? And so what they would teach you to do is adjust what they call the trim. And basically what this does is it kind of forces your airplane to go up or down in this instance. So when I was landing, I was coming down and there was this trim set to kind of force the plane to go down, right? Well, when I was taking off, I forgot about that. I was, a fairly new pilot. I didn't have a lot of hours under my belt, but I had forgotten that I had trimmed the plane to go down, right? So I take off and then they tell me get to 5,000 feet or 8,000 feet or whatever it was and then level off, right? So I go to level off thinking that the plane's just going to kind of relax and be level. And instead it nosedives. And I don't mean like, oh, this is a nice little note. I mean like nosedive. Like I am now plummeting down to the earth and probably going to die. So, obviously I start yanking on the yoke to try to pull it back. But like I said, that is a little hard to handle when you have a petite frame. So if you're trying to pull back and you don't have arm muscles, then it's a little difficult, right? So I'm holding this thing as hard as I can, but my plane is still nosediving. So it does this for probably a good, 30, 45 seconds, something like that. And then I finally, I'm kind of going through all the checklists in my head, like, what am I missing about this? Because our plane should not be nosediving. And of course, I'm alone. So my trainer's not with me. I don't really have connection to anybody except for the local tower. So all I could do if I was really just ran out of answers is I could call the tower, but I only have 8,000 feet to figure this out. So really I'm in it on my own, right? So finally I figure out what the issue is. I pull the trim back, right? And I level off. And to this day, it still cracks me up that the tower wasn't like, what in the world are you doing? I told you to level off at 8,000. Why did you just suddenly nosedive? Is everything okay? They never checked in. They never said anything at all, which I still think is hilarious. But at that point in time, I realized that I had enough of a sound mind to think and go through checklists and figure out what exactly my options were to try to remedy the situation. And I was actually able, to live, which you can tell by the fact that I'm here. So when I say that I actually deal well with pressure, I really mean I do well under pressure. So I was able to keep a sound mind in a highly stressful situation where my life was on the line. So if I can keep my cool when my life is on the line, I think I can keep my cool if your business goes through a tough patch or if you're having difficulty, with a team member or with a vendor or a client or whatever that looks like. I can be there to help be your calm in the storm. So number 5 is kind of a fun one, but if you would have asked me as a child what I wanted to be when I grew up, it would have been different every time. Sometimes I wanted to be a singer, sometimes I wanted to be a dancer, sometimes I wanted to be an actor, a chef, a clothing designer, an interior designer. I probably said the president of the United States a couple of times. I know I did, actually. So why this makes me a good CFO is because I am a big dreamer. I'm a big thinker. I don't keep myself small. I don't put myself in a box. I've never been normal. I'm a visionary. I'm forward thinking. I'm big thinking. I do all these things in a big picture way. I'm not necessarily always stuck on the details like a lot of accountants are. And so when it comes to looking at the big picture of your business, I can really forward think with you. I can dream with you. I can be ambitious with you. So if you tell me your goals and your dreams for your business, I'm never going to knock them down. That's never going to happen. I'm going to be like, those are amazing dreams, and I look forward to it. However, we may need to, develop a different timeline than what you're expecting. So I can help you dream big like that, and I can help you come up with big ideas like that. But also, I can help you bring it back down to earth, make sure that we're looking at a possible timeline that we can really achieve these goals, because we want them to be attainable, right? You don't want to just willy-nilly pick great goals and think, I want to be a millionaire by the end of the year. I mean, that's a fantastic goal and I love it, but it might not be realistic if you're making 50,000 this year. Maybe. It depends on your product. It depends on your marketing. It depends on your cash flow. It depends on a lot of things, but we'll look at all of those and make sure that we create some very ambitious, but also attainable goals, right? So number 6 is that I actually got married when I was 21 and we basically eloped. We went to the courthouse and got married. It was just my brother-in-law and my friend and her husband. And that was our witnesses. So how does this make me a good CFO? When you get married, especially when you get married young, you really don't have anything figured out. So a lot of the times you're trying to make things work with very little money, very little resources, very little time sometimes. So if you're in a situation where maybe cash flow is tight or the business isn't as profitable as you'd like it to be, I can work with those limited resources and still help you to grow your business and increase the cash flow that you're experiencing. It doesn't necessarily take a lot of money in order to grow, in order to be profitable. Sometimes you can work with the bare bones and you can get the job done. And there's nothing wrong with that. So number 7 is, as a young person, I hated math and I was also terrible with finances. I know that's kind of two, but I still don't like math. Still not my favorite, but I am very good at math. I actually did calculus when I was a sophomore in high school. So it's not that I can't do it. It's not that I'm bad at it. I'm actually very good at it. I just don't like it. And also very bad at finances. I mean, growing up, I don't really think that finances were ever talked about in my family. There was never discussions of like, this is too expensive, or, this doesn't fit into our budget or whatever. There was no conversations about that. Money was very hush hush. You did not ask someone how much they made. You did not ask someone how much something costed. Money was not talked about. So therefore, I had no idea how to handle money. So I'll tell you another story here, is Wells Fargo, the bank, not sponsored, used to have a program that was called Paycheck Advance, I believe. And what would happen is if you had a regular direct deposit in your account and they could go back and kind of see what the amounts were, they would offer to advance you your direct deposit, right? Which is cool because if you're living paycheck to paycheck, then if you need a few extra bucks, you can go in and do that. Now, I believe the idea that they had in mind was like, hey, if you need like 50 bucks or 100 bucks or something like that, like we'll spot you kind of thing. I didn't take it that way. I took it as however much money I need, you will give me. Now, the problem was that when they take your whole paycheck because you advanced your whole paycheck and then you have nothing left, then you go in and advance your next paycheck. Eventually, they stopped doing that. Eventually, they changed to you would pay it back in a period of time. So basically like a credit card, except, you didn't have as high of interest. But either way, probably wasn't a great thing for a 19, 20-year-old to have access to. And I definitely took advantage of it and not for the better. So when I say that I was bad with money and bad with finances, I'm not exaggerating. So how does this make me a good CFO? Because obviously that's not a great story to tell for somebody who, is asking you to trust them with your money and financial situation. What it says about me is that I won't judge you for your financial situation. And also, I know how to take things to your level, whatever level that is. If you have zero financial knowledge, I can bring it down to you. If you have, a lot of financial knowledge, then I can totally be on that level too. So wherever you are kind of in the spectrum of financial knowledge, financial know-how, I can meet you where you are. Also, just because your finances look bad, if they do, I'm not going to look down on you for that because I've been there. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to struggle with money, and I never enjoyed the process. So that is one of the reasons that I do what I do, is because I assume that if I didn't know a lot of the stuff and if I had difficulty managing my finances, that there's probably a lot of other people out there who do too, right? I understand what it's like to not understand your finances. And I know how to put things in simpler terms and simpler descriptions to help you to understand them. So, number 8 is that I actually have 4 brothers. And growing up, both of my parents were remarried to other people. So they got divorced and they got remarried. And so I had a total of 12 siblings. Yes, that's a lot. Most of them were boys, so lots of testosterone in my family. But what does having a big family have to do with accounting? I work well with teams. I work well in a group. So it doesn't just have to be you that I work with. If you have an operations manager or other team members who, help with marketing or anything like that, if I need to connect with those people, then I would be happy to do so because, I don't expect you to do everything. I assume you have a team. Or if you don't now, I assume you will have a team and they'll need to understand and know the processes as well. So I can work with them, connect with them, and help them with the processes and the tasks that they need to complete as well. So number 9 is I'm always listening. That sounds kind of groupy. And also I have a very good auditory memory. So something strange about me is that I really don't have a mind's eye. I mean, I do in the sense that I have somewhat visual dreams ish, but if you tell me to picture an apple right now, I can't do it. So I really don't have a visual memory. I don't have a visual inside of my mind eye. I don't have an eye inside of my mind, a mind's eye. So that means that everything that I process comes through auditory. So what this gives me as a CFO is kind of something unique, and that is that when things get hard, because they will, if they're not already, they will get hard. I can be the person to help you remember what your goals are and why you're doing what you're doing. It's really easy when you're in the thick of things and when you're struggling to forget all that stuff, but I won't forget. If you tell me what your goals are, if you tell me what your struggles are and why you're trying to overcome them, then I will be there to help remind you of why you are in this in the first place and help to continue to motivate you to climb the mountain and reach the top where you'll finally be able to feel like all of this hard work and all of the struggles and all of the sacrifices have been worth it. And the last one is once I make up my mind, I almost never change it. And I know that maybe sounds like a bad thing, but it's more like if I have a decision to make and there are options, then I pretty much think about all of the options, weigh the pros and cons, that kind of thing, make a decision, and I go that direction and I don't stop. Now, that doesn't mean if I find out that I'm wrong, that I'm not going to change my mind or go the opposite direction or whatever. But I usually continue down that path until the path is gone, right? Or until I realize that I'm complete. So, how does this make me a good CFO? So, it's not that I never change directions if I realize that I've made a bad decision. But if I've decided to partner with you as a CFO client, it's because one, I believe in you. I think you have something good in your company and in yourself that you can offer to the world. And I think that that's a great product or service, right? But I also think that we're a good fit, right? So for some reason, you and I mesh, right? And we work together well, or I think we'll work together well. And so if that's the case, if I think we're going to work together well, and I think you have something great to offer the world, I'm not going to give up on you. So, there may be months where you don't accomplish whatever our next steps were that we set during our calls, or you might just struggle, or we might go backwards even a little bit. But that doesn't mean that we're going to give up. I'm not going to give up on you. We're going to move forward. We're going to find a way to push through the plateau, the issue, whatever the problem is, and we're going to get you to your goals, no matter what it takes. As long as you're on board, I'm on board. All right. Now that I've spilled the beans about me and the great things about me, let me also add on here that I'm not perfect. I have flaws. There are things that I do wrong, just like everyone else. So even though this whole video was basically me telling you about how great I am, I know that there are also things that I can work on and that I can improve as well. But that's just a side note. Now it's your turn. I want to know about you. If you're watching this, especially if you've made it this far in the video, because I'm sure this one was a little long, tell me a fun fact or a little known fact about you and how it helps you in your job or your business or just in life. How have you been able to utilize that to your benefit? So for those of you who have been watching my latest videos, you may have noticed a little change at the end of my videos. And if you haven't, then you should go back at the last 2 or 3 and see if you notice anything different. I am trying to spice it up a little bit, give you a little something to look forward to at the end of my videos. So if you haven't noticed that, then I'll link one of those videos up here for you. Well, as always, thank you for spending a couple of minutes of your time with me today. I truly appreciate it. If you haven't already, please take a second to subscribe to my channel and turn on that bell button so that you get notified anytime I upload a video. All I share on here is ways to help you have a more profitable and growing business and do all that while maintaining a life with your family or your loved ones. I want you to be able to have time with the people that you love, doing the things that you love. It's not all about business. It's not all about work, work, work. We want to find some balance, right? So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, please do subscribe and turn on the bell button so that you do get notified anytime I upload a video. I hope that you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next video.